Can you beat Resident Evil 4 if every enemy is invisible? Well, after running this challenge in Resident Evils 1, 2, and 3, we've reached the last invisible enemies run I plan on doing. Unless I ever get the courage to try Village of Shadows like this. And by courage, I mean get bullied into it. Like the other runs, this is gonna be exactly what it sounds like. Through the power of the Ultimate Trainer mod by Razer, every enemy in the game will be invisible. More or less. There's some quirks. We'll be tackling this on the professional difficulty because anything less wouldn't be painful enough. Let's get started. Just to immediately give you the best idea of what this run is like, we're skipping past some of Chapter 1's preamble and heading straight into the village. Now with our trusted binoculars, I can show you what we're dealing with. We're just gonna ignore the cookout and focus on those floating farm tools. This will be the case across the entire run, where the enemies may be invisible, but the weapons remain, which kinda makes the guys without weapons more dangerous because we have absolutely no idea where they could be, unless we try and listen for them amongst the chaos, or accidentally bump into them. But yeah, those floating weapons sure help for trying to figure out if we can pull a stealth kill off or not. Am I behind it? Yeah. Good night, sweet ghost. Thanks for the gunpowder. Even though here that doesn't really make a difference once we start the bingo battle. And hey look, we can see the villagers in the cutscene. They go back to being invisible as soon as it's over though. That'll be happening a lot. Invisibility can be a toss-up during the cutscenes. Anyways, we loot the house and grab the shotgun. Then it's time to run these guys around until the bell rings. I don't want that floating chainsaw anywhere near me if I can help it. One thing I'll point out here is that sometimes you can see the enemy's shadows. The key word being sometimes, because it's mostly just the villager enemies that have them and it's not even all the time. Don't know why. Alright, that's enough running around. Leon, say the line.
Where's everyone going?
No! The rest of the chapter is a breeze. I mostly just looted everything I could and shot the blue medallions for the eventual merchant payout. Speaking of the merchant, we get access to him at the start of chapter 2, and you might already have an idea of what I'm looking to trade him for when we do enough of his missions. I'll let you stew on that mystery until we can get what I want. Beyond that, we need to get past a whole bunch of guys to get a crank, and that mostly went well, minus getting my neck snapped like I've never had a glass of milk in my entire life. Oh shit. Well, I think yeah, that looks like it was a waste of time, huh? Something about the invisible executions makes it a little more brutal than usual. The first thing we do in Chapter 3 is, of course, save the dog, who is not invisible because he's clearly a very good boy and not an enemy. The second thing we do is buy the bolt thrower, which I can tell you right now was a waste of money and inventory space. I thought it'd be solid for like sticking arrows in guys to be able to see them and then also use the proximity mines as a crutch, but I really only pulled it out once and then sold it a bit later. Like in every invisible enemies run I've done so far, fire seems to be pretty good for seeing where enemies are. Who'd have thought? There we go. Partway through the chapter, we get access to the shooting range, and so I didn't spend way too much time here, I decided to only use the first 3 unique charms I pulled. Here's what we got. Alright, 3 golds, big money, no whammy. Ammo resale value? I mean, I guess that's not the worst. Are you... Why? Why? That better be 80% fucking resale value. Are you fucking joking me? Okay, handgun. That's not bad. We'll take the handgun one. I swear to God. Oh, thank God. Hey, 20% off the rocket launcher. You know what? That's not too bad either. Only a smidge of coping with my iffy luck there. Getting the gas for the boat was surprisingly not bad either. We just assassinate the Hammer Brother and then run for it. Once we get the gas, a grenade is all it takes for us to make a clean escape. And by clean escape, I mean perch up and kill everybody so I can shoot the blue medallions and farm some fish. It's here. Oh! We did it. Now I've got enough to make that trade with the merchant I mentioned earlier. If you somehow managed to guess I wanted the laser sight, congratulations, that must have been very hard to figure out. The laser sight is incredibly useful because it shows up on targets, which allows us to figure out where a single enemy is at a time, alongside giving us a tiny bit of depth perception, at least when the pistol's out. I don't think it's... working for me, chat. And speaking of pistols, we also picked up the Punisher, which can penetrate through enemies. Surely you can imagine how that's useful when I can barely see shit. Before we start the Delago fight, we've got to see if it's invisible when we do the whole shoot the water bit. Any bets? Ah, that's too bad. But at least it's invisible in the actual fight. Which is just as tedious as usual. I guess it's nice the harpoons stick out though. Oh, thank God we did it first try. Chapter 4 is where things start getting tentacly, which means we've got to address the Plagueis in the room, because whenever someone's head pops, it's visible. Wait. Oh my God, that's visible? This is... No! I'm having Resident Evil 3 flashbacks. There was a similar issue in the Resident Evil 3 run with the Nemesis parasites, where they are visible like 75% of the time. Here, any headbursters are visible all the time. So that's kind of unfortunate, but there's nothing we can really do about it. Once we get over that travesty, most of this chapter is not too bad. There was a lot of looting and a lot of running past enemies, until we got to an enemy we couldn't run past. Our first boss fight of the game where we can do something other than throw harpoons, El Gigante, who is very invisible.
Jesus Christ. God damn, you're a big boy.
Even if I didn't have the laser sight here, the fact that this guy leaves big old footprints in the mud, alongside just being a big slab of meat, doesn't make it too hard to find where he's at. Although, I didn't have much of a chance to figure out what attacks he was gearing up for, so I got slapped around a little bit. Oh! He was closer than I thought! After we do enough damage, he'll show us his hog, and then we just gotta pull his pork. Eventually, our good pal the dog shows up to take some aggro and help this fight along. Is the dog invisible? It's definitely not the hardest thing in the world, but it did eat up the majority of my ammo. Well, that could have gone better. Where's that dog? Is he over here?
Thanks, bud.
Why is he invisible? Chapter 5 throws Ashley into the mix, which you might think makes things way worse in the invisible chaos, but it's actually not that bad. Ashley, are you fucking joking me? I don't want to say it actively helps when she gets got, but it sure does make it easier to find some of these guys. Ow. The one time I tried to use the bolt thrower was in this chapter, specifically against that dog you have to kill for the merchant's quest. It was a bad time. I don't know what I was thinking. At least the mine arrows ended up stunning it, so we could give it the old Saskatoon. So, that's nice. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't mention it, but you still get the melee/knife prompt above a stunned enemy's head despite their invisibility, which is pretty helpful. Anyways, I never used the bolt thrower again and sold it in the next chapter. But before we can get to the next chapter, it's time for one of the worst parts of the entire run, the cabin holdout. There's not a lot to even really show here because it's purely just a mosh pit of invisible pain that I had to bash my head against until I got through. It didn't really help the situation that almost every time I caught a bitch slap, Luis told me to pay attention. As if I can clearly fucking see what's going on around us in here. Whatever, it took me like 2 hours and a small mental breakdown until I finally got through. The start of chapter 6 is pretty smooth sailing. There's this quarry bit where all we have to do to get through is aggro the villagers and then bring them back to this gate here where they de-aggro if we back up enough. This is a strategy I used a lot in this run. It even works on the Bella sisters. But first, we have to see the 100% completely necessary backflip. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Right after that, we can just run everyone all the way back to the entrance of this area, and then pick them off at our leisure since their aggro breaks off here. If they start running away, we can just step back in to get their interest, then rinse repeat.
Finally.
Nice! It's time for the most cursed instance of not every part of this enemy is invisible. Leon, for all you know, he just stabs. Oh, it's a floating beard! That is vile. Oh my god! That grosses me the fuck out. I couldn't tell you why, but that is...
Come, child.
Shivers. I can't exactly put my finger on why, but something about this vaguely reminds me of showering with my dad. Anyways, Mendez's bush sticks around for his entire boss fight, making it easy enough to track him around the arena. Even if we couldn't see it though, I don't think this fight would be terrible. You can pretty much just run back and forth up here to dodge his attacks without being too worried about it. Then it's just a matter of getting some shots in. Mendez appears really briefly in between phases, and then he's gone again. I'm really thankful the shit he throws at us here isn't invisible. That would be incredibly miserable. Now it's the classic dodge what we can. I panicked. And then shoot him until he's dead. Yo! Oh, what the fuck is that? Ew! Chapter 7 is the start of our time in the castle, and here's what these guys look like when their heads pop. So will these guys... Oh yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, there we go. Lovely. Just in case you were wondering, neither the catapults nor their shots are invisible. That'd be fucked up. Okay, let's jump ahead to the dungeon and check in on the handjob enthusiast. This is gonna be cursed, right? Well, we can't see his hands, but we can see his worm. We're just gonna flash and crank our way out of here. Crank it, Leon, crank it! It's time for another one of the worst parts of this run, the water hall. At least in terms of being very, very annoying. There's two parts to this bit, and the first isn't that bad. We have to crank a couple cranks to get a staircase in place, and it's mostly a lot of running past guys, then trying to pull them out of the hall and out of their aggro to wipe them out, with varying levels of success. Oh, fuck.
Come on.
Got it.
There you go.
Oh, shit.
Ashley!
No! The bad time is the next part where we have to cover Ashley while she cranks even more cranks. We boost her up, and then there's a constant stream of invisible guys trying to grab her. Like, truly invisible. They don't have anything on them to give themselves away. Normally, we'd probably try and pick them off before they get to her, but after having to clear that previous bit, we're a bit sparse on ammo to be looking for, and then fire shots off at ghosts. There's also a couple waves of goons that attack us down here while we have to defend her, and it's just a pretty frustrating time. I try not to hit on Ashley in either this or the original, because she's really easy to play around like 99% of the time. But this is the 1% where she drives me insane, because she'll just assume the position when someone is up there near her, and won't even try to run past them. I just want her to make the same kind of effort I do, you know? Oh, she's fucking gone. God fucking... I think I was mostly miserable here because on one of my first attempts, I was really close to getting us out of the hall. But I timed my flash grenade like a fraction of a second too early and stunned Ashley by accident, ruining the attempt on the cusp of victory. Whatever, I did it eventually. Fuck that place. Shut up. You did not do anything. Oh my god. I did it. Bro. Don't say that shit to me. Don't ever say that shit to me again, Ashley. Ashley's gone for Chapter 8, which is probably for the best, because there's no way we'd be getting her through this room in one piece. Ruh-roh! I think that kick just saved my life. Go, Leon, go! Oh, jeez! Oh, man! Oh! We should not be alive. We should not be alive. We're gonna die soon, but we shouldn't have even lived through that. As it turns out, since the spider plaga don't pop out of anyone's holes, they're completely invisible, which gives them a lot of potential to be menaces. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of them throughout the game. The whole bit of running on the castle walls is more or less fine as well. Sure, there's a lot of guys, but you can bob and weave around most of them. It's the same deal when the big invisible boy starts chucking rocks at us. Honestly, he's probably more helpful than harmful. Okay, now I can go. I drop down there? Oh, that's not the one. Oh my god. Ow, my back. Oh no, the front of my face. Okay, we're fine. We get Ashley back in Chapter 9, which is just in time for the super fun hedge maze, riddled with invisible dogs.
Dogs like me.
Jesus. Okay, so in classic Resident Evil fashion, we need 3 pieces of whatever to finish a puzzle and open a door. The first piece is no issue. It's a sitting puzzle. The next piece is pretty easy as well. We just throw a nade over here, and then grab our MacGuffin. The final piece is a little more interesting because we've got to throw hands with some knights, who are just floating swords and writhing masses of tentacles. Ashley's blue lanterns do most of the heavy lifting here, along with flash grenades. Once we slot the 3 pieces of whatever, Leon gets caged like the wild animal he is. Then we have a brief section with Ashley that's really no different than a normal playthrough. When we're done that, Leon is freed, and Ashley is captured. Chapter 10 introduces us to the Navistadors, which are kind of invisible half the time already, so nothing really new here. You'd probably think the double Garador room would be painful, but by the power of the broken butterfly and Ring Around the Rosie, this room had a happy ending. Ruh-roh! At the end of the chapter, we've got to avoid the vertigo. I mean, it's killable, but I'm not about to spend the ammo or the time. Instead, we go with the old freeze it and then pray the elevator gets here before we're decapitated. Spoiler alert, I was decapitated. Freezing has a pretty generous hitbox, so we can just let it rip when we think it's close enough. Once we're out of that sweet Canadian nectar, all we can do is run around and wait. But by the time we've used up all the cold stuff, the elevator should be really close. Hurry! Oh, please God, hurry up! He's back! He's fucking back! We get Luis as a partner for Chapter 11, and he can see the invisible enemies. So that's nice, but it doesn't really do too much for us since we can just run past all the guys to grab the dynamite here. Unfortunately, but also obviously, the rocks that can crush us are not invisible. The real fun part here is the double giant fight. Maybe not so much if we were unable to flashbang and dump one of them in the lava from the get-go. I don't remember if we can like flashbang these guys just to stop immediately, or...
There you go.
We'll find out.
Get through the armor. Luis, out of the way!
Okay, we did get one. After the first one is cooked, we've got to wait a bit until Luis shows up with dynamite to blow the invisible armor off the second one. Now we can just dump his ass in the lava with his brother. This entire fight took maybe 2 minutes. The minecart section isn't really too different. You know, since we know that guys are going to be in these. I mean, the giant floating chainsaw kind of gives it away. Round 2 with the Navistadors was pretty ass. Mostly from Luis's heckling from the cabin, making a comeback and chipping away at my mental health. But he got what was coming to him. Someone should have told him to pay attention. Yeah, so I think we're gonna just let this cutscene play out so you can appreciate it with me.
Long time no see, rookie.
Okay, this is fucking silly.
Not good.
This first Krauser fight is painful if you're like me and have shit for eyes. It is so goddamn hard to track his knife around, trying to find out what attack's coming next, and then getting the timing down to parry him. And yes, I could look at the parry timer flashing down there in the bottom right, and I tried. But it's a little easier said than done with the quick time events going on as well. This very much turned into a trial and error until I win situation. No! At least we get to actually see Krauser at the end of the fight. Okay, we just needed to be a little more... Wait, why is he visible now? The first thing we gotta do in Chapter 12 is grab the golden chicken egg from the throne room. Okay, very good. Perfect. Now we've got to try and throw this thing at Salazar in the opening seconds of his boss fight. Is he here? I missed! I missed! Yeah, that checks out. Salazar is a menace. He is super mobile and constantly swinging off of the walls, leaving skid marks wherever he goes. Luckily, he's also super vocal, so we always have a decent idea of where he is. Though that doesn't make him any easier to dodge. He's also rocking an insta-kill that I definitely got hit by on purpose just to show you how it looks when he's invisible. What the hell? Oh. What? So yeah, landing that initial egg throw is pretty helpful here, but with him being invisible, it took a few tries. Well, I think I missed. I hit him with the egg, but I fucking missed. Ah! No! I got him! I got him! Just like we wrote it up. Chapter 13 gets us on the island, and beyond some of the enemies having new weapons, it really is just more of the same. A whole bunch of invisible violence. At least until we get to the regenerators.
What the fuck are you?
Okay, yeah, no, this is still the same, but maybe more cursed. The gurgling sounds mixed with the invisibility does not spark joy. There's no reason to fight these guys here beyond trying to open up a chance to run the hell away. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Towards the end of the chapter, we are forced to fight at least one, though, for a wrench. Normally, you'd need to use the biosensor scope to be able to see which of the 4 regenerators in these test tubes has said wrench, but in this instance, we can just walk up and see it, since that wrench definitely isn't an enemy. Now, you might be thinking that the biosensor scope could break this run wide open, because it senses bios or whatever, and I thought it would too, but it does not sense a single bio when we use it, so it's only worthwhile to sell for a couple bucks. Since we can't figure out where the parasites are in the regenerators, we just gotta feed it damage until it dies. End of chapter. We've got Ashley back again for chapter 14. And you know how I said the start of the last chapter was more of the same? Well, pretty much this entire chapter is more of the same as well. There's not really a whole lot to show until the boss fight at the end. Well, I guess there's the bit where we lure the Iron Maiden to the shitwater and then pray we don't fuck up this timing puzzle before it catches back up to us. No! Then there's the construction site bit where we use grenades to break the wall quicker. All pretty standard stuff. With Ashley taken away from us, again, it's about time for rounds 2, 3, and 4 with Krauser, who continues to remain very invisible. Rounds 2 and 3 are near identical to the first fight, with the exception that sometimes Krauser will fucking shoot us. Otherwise, this more or less plays out like the first fight. Shit gets real scuffed in round 4 when Krauser transforms. Our main way of tracking him, though, is his yapping. We're really lucky the hardest bosses don't shut up, or we'd probably be in trouble. Unfortunately, even if we know where he is, he's incredibly fast, and one of his arms is a shield that we have no idea if he's using to block the shots we're trying to take. That's on top of the fact he can pop our head like a grape and gut us like a fish depending on his mood. Before you ask, parrying his ass here was not really an option for me. Even if I could see him, it'd be a skill issue. The worst part is the walk of shame tied to this fight where we have to redo the round 3 fight with him when we die. What I ended up doing was pulling out the old ladder strat, as in I ran up to a ladder, climbed it, listened for him to jump up, and then fired away while his guard was down. Rinse repeat until dead. Oh, yo, did we get him? I reckon we gotta tip the cap to Krauser here for keeping up the invisibility bit until the very end. Oh shit, never mind. There he is. The only thing worth mentioning in chapter 15 is that we get hard carried by Mike. Mike, where are you? Okay, a little late, buddy. A little late. There's no reason for us to do anything but let him farm drops for us. So we just let him work his magic as long as possible, until eventually it happens. Pretty much everything else is fighting if we have to fight, then running because there's not much left for us to do in this run besides the final boss fight. That means it's time for chapter 16. Believe it or not, at this point, I was pretty invisible enemies out. Fuck you. So I was thinking it'd be funny to nuke Sadler with the RPG since I've legitimately never bought or used one from the merchant before, and I was stuck with that keychain from the start of the run. But then, the merchant called me out for buying one.
Not my place to say, really, but sometimes things are more interesting if you keep a level playing field, don't you find?
Wait, is he saying that I'm cheating? I mean, the merchant just fucking called me out. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. And you know what? That's actually fine, because Sadler isn't a very hard boss in this run, mostly due to his leg eyeballs kind of always being visible and shootable. He is floating eyeballs. They're just floating gray blobs free for the blasting. I've never used the Punisher outside of this run. I'm a Red 9 kind of guy. So is this because of the penetration power of the Punisher, or are the eyelids just not working in this mod? Or could you always shoot these even if they're closed and I've had no idea? Let me know if you know. Anyways, this kind of trivialized the fight. The only tough part is probably the second phase where you have to dodge his invisible tentacles before you get to blast him with a red rocket. No! We were right there. We were right there. I just can't even aim for the tissue. Fuck off. Aim for the tissue. You can't see his fucking dumbass. I'm so pissed. I was able to get him on the next try. Please be there. Okay. I don't know if you can miss that. One wave race later, and it's GG. Resident Evil 4 Remake, Invisible Enemies, complete. We did it! We did it. It's over. Kind of. Okay, so listen, I had a poll on the channel at some point asking if I should do separate ways or not, and people told me to, so I did. But man, it's really just more of the same. There is nothing worth adding on to this whole experience that hasn't been said or shown. The TLDR is that the U3 and Sadler kicked my ass a lot. I'll probably upload all those fights to the VOD channel at some point, but that's about it. Anyways, that was mostly fun. The Resident Evil Invisible Enemies Gauntlet is done. For now. If you enjoyed this run, leave me a like or a sub or comment or whatever. Follow your heart. I feel like I need to go get some form of eye surgery after doing all of that. God damn. As always, you can catch these runs live over at twitch.tv/anxiety. Thanks for watching.